everyone, Janet Boyer here, and today I'm going to share the joy of magnetic poetry and how fun it is. I have been doing magnetic poetry for over 15 years, maybe 20, and it's super easy to do. I actually started with knockoff magnetic poetry words, not the actual brand, and I just thought I'd share with you. You could do it on the refrigerator. We used to do it on a refrigerator. We would stand there every once in a while and just like make poems, my husband, my son, and I. These are super old, and all you need to do to work on them, if you wanted, is just go to the dollar store and get a metal cookie tray. And, then you have creativity wherever you want. Now, this is all full, so you'd have to have a blank one or even just a space, and then you make poems. What my husband, son, and I enjoy doing is like make a theme, and then we'll just say winter, or one year it was makeup, and my husband did the most cool poem. I'll have to see if we can find it because we wrote it down, but one of the lines was "Slice it off, sister." It was a magnetic poem about a woman who has too much makeup on. So another thing that you can get is these metallic, I'm not sure what they're called, but you can actually do and display them. I did this one about a cat going to the bathroom in the garden. Why bury the need to struggle? Fertilize the brown sanctuary every morning. Ripe manure smells always, but secret murmur emerges from fertile soil. Sprout blossom bouquet. So I think I used the garden MagPo for this, and I think my husband gave the challenge of, I don't know if it was like a cat go to the bathroom or something silly. And then, I came up with this because, hey, right? Crap does fertilize the blossoms. And so it has like little S's, so you can make plural words. I have a really old set that had blanks that you can write your own words. As a matter of fact, it's so old that I can't even, this says daddy. Oh, Noah must have did this one. You could barely see it. So even he would get into it. So there was different, Noah, baby. We must have been doing this when he was really young. Starting the education. I homeschooled my son from kindergarten all through graduation. So I probably use this as a teaching tool. Again, we had some cheaper knockoffs. Some of them were larger than others. I think this one was, I don't know if this was from Hay House or something, but it was a colorful one. So you can get like inspirational ones that are full color. And these are the ones that you can buy on Amazon or bookstores or whatever. Magnetic poetry has tons of different themes. And so I have coffee, I have Edgar Allan Poe, and I have garden. And so I haven't even opened my Poe one yet. So you could see some of the words like melancholy, darkness, telltale, murmur, imagination, crepuscular, words that you would expect Edgar Allan Poe to use. Pretty cool, right? And then the garden one is the one I think I used. Yeah, because it's all mixed up. Yeah, it was open. That's one I used for the manure poem. And coffee, I don't even think I've opened this one yet. Yeah, I mean, we're big coffee addicts in this house. If you don't know, my husband and I created the coffee tarot deck. Yikes, man, over 80 images he hand drew with color pencils. If you're interested in looking at the images, it's on Facebook. Look under Coffee Tarot, or you can go to our Shea Boy or Etsy shop. But we're big coffee addicts. I even have a coffee journal I make. I make coffee-themed jewelry. I can't believe I haven't opened this yet. We might have to do that this weekend. My family and I love to do what we call it coffee calypsos. And we'll all like drink cups of coffee, sit at the dining room table, and we'll just sit and talk about art or joke and laugh. Culture, we'll make things. Sometimes we'll be drawing, or I'll make jewelry. One of us will be sketching. It's just, I love weekends here at home. And so I might crack up that coffee, crack open that. And so again, you just need a cheap cookie sheet from the dollar store. And so you could get two of them if you wanted. Like, the only bad thing about keeping these in there is then you can't see the words because they're magnetic, so they'll stick together. So that's why I like using cookie sheets so I can see all the words. And then I like to use a separate cookie sheet or something like this to actually pull out my words and then create a poem. So if for some reason you feel like you're not creative, which if you know anything about my theory, it's bullshit, because talent and creativity are not the same. Talent is, unless you're born as a prodigy, comes from practice and skills, and that includes writing poetry or writing anything for that matter. I became a really good writer by starting out as a reviewer, and I posted most of my reviews on Amazon. I have over 1,200 reviews on Amazon. I was an Amazon Hall of Fame reviewer. And I used to be really wordy, but the more I did it, the more incisive and short and clean I wrote. And so actually that's what ended up getting me a book contract, because I reviewed a book by an author and her agent saw it and said, "Oh, you have to read this review." And she's like, no, you know, I have a policy. I don't read reviews. And she goes, "No, you have to read this one." And the author was so impressed with my review of her book. She actually reached out to me. We became friends. I had an idea for a book at some point, and I said, would you contribute to my book? It was my first book, Back in Time Tarot. It was where people submitted what I called Back in Time Tarot snapshots, bit snapshots, where you learn tarot backwards and you take an event. It could be a famous event like 9/11, or, you know, any historical event, any TV scene, TV show, movie, poem, short story, a memory from your life, and you just break it down in components, and then you look through a tarot deck consciously, and then you pair a card that seems to encapsulate different aspects. Like, you know, Wizard of Oz, you would pick a card to symbolize the Emerald City, one to symbolize Dorothy, one to symbolize Toto or Scarecrow or the Lion, or the Wicked Witch or the Field of Poppies. And then in that way you learn tarot backwards from your own experience, and that way you really cement memories and you learn tarot a lot better that way. Takes a little bit more time, takes some journaling. But anyway, my idea is to not only share my bit tarot method, Back in Time Tarot method, but to have different authors and tarot deck creators submit their own stories, their own bit snapshots, to show how anybody can do it. So I had, it was Judica Illes was the author who became my friend. So I had her, and reached out to Mark McElroy, Lon Milo Duquette, a lot of luminaries in the tarot world, and they submitted it, and that was my first book. And I had just a couple bit snapshots plus my intro, and I was given a book deal by the same publisher that my friend used. So see, reviewing led to me writing nonfiction books. So I have like a dozen ebooks under my belt, and 5 full-length books: Back in Time Tarot, Tarot in Reverse, about upside down tarot cards, Naked Tarot, my behemoth magnum opus that's over 110,000 words, and the companion book to our Coffee Tarot and our Snowland deck. And now I'm trying to write fiction, and so now I'm kind of have to I have to get rid of that internal editor, because writing reviews and writing so tight and writing nonfiction is completely different than fiction. Because a lot of times fiction, my husband's always, "Oh, you got to let the prose breathe. You need to have more descriptions." Well, see, that's the very thing you kind of don't want in nonfiction and in reviews. So actually, I'm getting back into doing some poetry and more organic, intuitive stuff so I can hone my fiction chops. But see, my whole point in saying this is that most people are just not born writers or born poets or born painters or what have you. You experiment. Do you have to do it to get better? Absolutely not. You could just do it for the fun of it. You don't have to hone a skill. I mean, you just color in a coloring book. You don't have to learn shading or all the fancy stuff. You could just doodle to doodle's sake. You don't have to worry about monetization. You don't have to worry about getting published, nothing like that. But I'm just saying that creativity is not the same as talent. So anybody could be creative. And with magnetic poetry, you have it taken you have a lot of it done for you. You have the words. And another benefit of, like, let's say buying one magnetic poetry pack is you're limited. And limitations often breed creativity. Because, if you got like 5 different cookie sheets filled with words. Like, who would do that, right? It might be a little more overwhelming because you're like, what word do I pick and stuff? But still, it's done for you. It's not like you're having to pick, words out of the air, right? But if it's limited, then you're like, okay, I have to make a poem with just these words. And then it forces you to think in unusual ways. Like, you might have an image, like I had an image of how, a cat would be using the bathroom in a garden, but how it would fertilize bloom. So it forced me to think, why bear the need to struggle? In other words, the cat, why hold your poop? Fertilize a brown sanctuary, because that's kind of a garden. It's a sanctuary for seed and growth, right? And, the secret murmur emerges, seeds. It's, using a murmur when it's, it's use all kind of literary devices and cool things when you force yourself to use a limited amount of words. And again, you can always say, even limit it more, like how my family and I do sometimes, where we say, okay, let's write a poem about this. So you not only have a limitation of the words, but you have a limited theme. And believe it or not, that really breeds creativity, and it removes the feeling of overwhelm and what do I create and how do I create. So anyway, I thought I would share this with you. Again, if you look at magnetic poetry, whether it's Amazon or your favorite bookstore, independent bookstore, what have you, there's tons of them. I think there's zombies. I think there's a Jane Austen. You literally can find magnetic poetry to just, pretty much any kind of interest. So, and they're really inexpensive. They're under $15. That might only just be $10. So I encourage you to get creative. And let's say you don't have even a cookie sheet. You probably have a refrigerator, right? So get going on your refrigerator, if you don't mind junking it up, as my husband used to call it. So there's lots of things that you can do. You can use a metal file cabinet, even at your work, if you have like a metal, area, like if you need to brainstorm or if you're in a creative type of profession or what have you, go to it. There's no reason you can't. And then if you want, you can always write your poems down, and then redo it from the beginning, make another, and have a collection of poetry, or you just do it for fun and be like the Buddhist, sand art, and just remove it and don't remember it, don't share it. You don't have to take a picture and share it on social media or anything like that. Just do it for your soul's sake or to be more creative. And another cool thing about this, even if you're not a writer, let's say you're more of a jewelry creator or a junk journal maker or a painter or a dancer or what have you, I've found in all my years of like cross-fertilization and creating, that creating in one art form and medium does translate to other ones. Don't ask me how it works, but it seems like it opens up certain ways of looking and seeing. I mean, that's what art does anyway. Art gives us empathy, but it also helps us put ourselves in other people's shoes, or to see beauty, or see something maybe that in a different perspective. So that's another cool thing. You try one art form and it can actually inform other art forms. And also it's a good stress reliever, and it gives you a sense of well-being. There's plenty of scientific literature on that. So I hope you found this inspiring and exciting this weekend, or wherever you're seeing it. And so feel free to go explore your poetic urges. Another thing that you could do, it just popped in my mind, I think the Beat Poets did this. Oh, they did two different things. There was like a blackout method where you would take a newspaper or maybe even a magazine, and you would black out all the words except the ones that were left. So you would like find words that made a poem out of a piece, out of a page of a magazine, or even an old book if you wanted, and you black out with a black marker all the words you don't want. And so that all that's left is kind of like a poem. Or you could take that same magazine page or newspaper or whatever, and you cut out, it takes more work though, you cut out all the little words, and then you put them in a pile, and then you can make poetry that way. Is that seriously cool or what? So you can use what you have, newspaper and scissors, and you're good to go. All right, well, you guys take care. I hope you feel inspired, and feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. I'd appreciate that. I'm up to 416 subscribers. Thank you guys. And please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to have more creativity stuff. I'm going to share my button collection and share how that's going to be. That was the gateway drug for me for hands-on creating. I'm going to share my different paints, things I use for junk journaling, my sticker collections, thread, you name it, all this Halloween stuff, things that I have used to create and I'm going to create. So I'm going to use this channel to just not be narrow. I can't niche. I just can't. I finally niched in my creativity coaching business, but I can't niche my life. I just can't. I can't just have a channel dedicated to tarot or just to this or that. I tried, but it's mostly going to be creativity and fun things that you can do to express your creativity. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I've already brainstormed a lot, and I'm excited about it. It's not feeling like I have to like before. It's feeling like, oh my God, maybe this will inspire someone. Maybe this will heal someone's soul. Maybe this will help someone break out of a slump if they're feeling blocked or if they were discouraged from criticism or negative feedback. So please subscribe and feel free to share this video on social media or wherever that you think somebody will be like, oh, that's kind of cool. What's Janet up to today? And hit the notification bell, of course, so you know every time I upload something. And if you want to visit me at janetboyer.com, you could do that. I have a newsletter. I never tell people about that either. I'm really bad at marketing anymore these days. I got so burned out as an author. You're conditioned. Oh, you gotta, you have to be your own social media person. And it really is true, especially if you're not a best-selling author, which is ironic. The niche authors, we got to really bust our butt to get out there. But I got so sick of it and burned out, I don't do it much anymore. And I forget, you know what? I don't even ask people to subscribe to my channel. Duh. So please do that. I'm hoping to get to 500 maybe by the end of July. And if so, I'm going to have a nice giveaway. And like I said, visit me at janetboyer.com. You'll see newsletter sign up there. And you can just explore, what I've been doing. My family and I just saw the musical Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and we loved it. And I shared some pictures on my blog. You'll get to see that. And so I invite you, if you're not doing anything, come on, hang out with me. I don't write big blog posts usually, and you could just kind of nose around and hang out, sign up for my newsletter, and things like that. So I hope you're having a great day. Make something today for fun, even if it's little, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.